Hello and welcome to this week's Webcast. I'm Brad Klier.
And I'm Drew Gentry. We have an exciting show planned for you, but first, let's step into the box for 3 strikes. On Saturday, Jimmy Butler was finally traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Bob Covington, Dario Saric, and a 2022 second-round pick. This trade ends the long saga surrounding Butler and Minnesota. Brad, what are your thoughts on this trade?
So it's a clear win for the Philadelphia 76ers. You were able to get a top 15 player in the NBA. You gave up no first-round pick, and I love Bob Covington. I love Dario Saric, but you did not give up a single premium asset. And the greatest flaw that the Sixers had, or the greatest need that they had, was they needed someone who they could throw the ball to on the perimeter, get him a clutch shot, get him a basket at will. They don't have a perimeter scorer. Now they do, and they have one of the league's best in Jimmy Butler.
See, some people question his three-point skill. I agree with you on that, though. I think he's an underrated three-point shooter, and he's actually really clutch. He's a big-time player.
Exactly.
He also takes off that pressure of Ben Simmons on the driving kick. That's going to get Ben Simmons a lot of extra assists, and his points are going to he doesn't have to score as much. It was always just a Embiid and a Simmons show, but now you got Butler in there. It's a triple-headed monster.
You look at what this team has always not had in these last few years. You know, as we mentioned, you mentioned the clutch thing. The Sixers are the second worst clutch scoring team in the entire league. You look at them against Boston in the playoffs last year, they can't execute in the clutch. And you have a guy who is a dog, a guy who goes hard and is going to get any shot that he wants. And you look at how that impacts the rest of the team. Like you said, like the three-point shooting isn't great, like it's not at a Paul George level, but it's still solid. If you could have Simmons, Embiid, and Butler and put Redick and Shamet out there, or Redick and Wilson Chandler, that's a really, really solid 5-man group. After 10 weeks, it is time to discuss who is the most deserving of the NFL MVP award. With so many worthy candidates staking their claim, Drew, who do you think is the MVP thus far?
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. He's led that team. He's dominated. He filled the role so well and actually is performing better than his predecessor in Alex Smith. 3,150 yards, 31 TDs, 7 interceptions, and a 117.4 passer rating. That's absolutely absurd. He's only in his second year. He has so many versatile weapons, and it really just boosts his confidence. But he makes throws we're not used to seeing kids make.
I think he's my number 2. I think it's clearly Drew Brees. We look at how many points per game the Saints team scores, how efficiently they are, or how efficiently they operate on the offensive side of the ball. They have a horrible defense that they have to contend with on their own team every single game. And they've only lost 1 game all year, and they beat the Rams, the best team in the league. You talk about all these things about Mahomes making all these crazy passes and whatnot. Drew Brees does it. He's a steady presence.
He's done it his whole career.
He's done it his whole career, exactly. And he has Michael Thomas. He has Alvin Kamara. There's not really a solid number 2 wide receiver on this team, and he does every single thing you could want a quarterback to do. They're winning despite a horrible defense. They're putting up mad numbers. I think it has to be Drew Brees.
I love Drew Brees. I see that comparison. There's 2. They're obviously neck and neck in my opinion. I think Drew Brees is undervalued in a lot of people's minds.
Really?
Because when you think about the greatest quarterbacks, we're always hearing Brady.
Okay, I think that's
fair. We're hearing Brady and Rodgers. You never think about Drew Brees.
But he's definitely in there. I don't know what record he broke this year off the top of my head, but he's breaking records. He's one of the top.
Brett Favre for second all-time on passing, and he broke Peyton Manning's passing yards record in the same season. That's not really heard of, and it's going to be a fun race coming down these last couple of weeks in the regular season.
100%.
Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell did not report by today's 4 p.m. deadline, making him ineligible to play this season. Bell will be sitting out the whole season in preparation for free agency. Brad, did Bell make the right move by not showing up?
So before you answer this question, you have to look at the context of the situation in which he put himself. Based off of that, he made the right decision, and here is why. The franchise tag for next year would have been the 3rd tag, which would have been for $25 million, which is quarterback money and was never going to be put on him. The transition tag, regardless of the figure that it is irrelevant because all it does is allows the Steelers to match an offer that Bell gets in free agency, which they will not do. Bell put himself in a situation now where if he came back, the only thing he would be doing is risking injury and losing out on that payday that he's game planned for this whole time. I would say it has not affected the amount of guaranteed money he will get. The Colts are still there.
I say the
Jets
opposite,
are still
though.
there.
I still think he's going to get a little less money.
But
I think he can't do that because he didn't play. James Conner came into the same situation. I understand that.
But at the same time, you could flip that argument and say he didn't play. That's a season less of wear and tear. He's going to have one extra year that he's a high-level running back, and he's still the same player that he was. He didn't get 400, 500 touches this year that went on his body like DeMarco Murray when he was a Cowboy, signed with the Eagles, and was never the same.
I think it was a great decision. I think it was a take-and-give kind of situation from him. Yes, you lost that kind of value of, okay, well, somebody stepped in and did the same numbers, but you're also taking that, he took a year off, his body got fully right. Yeah. I don't really know how he's going to be in this free agency market, and if the Steelers try and match somebody.
Well, they're not. If they were going to match it and offer, they would have tried to sign him now. I think he's still getting $30 million guaranteed. I still think he's going to have tons of suitors. I'm not concerned about that. And should he have come back week 6 or 7? That's a realistic, plausible argument. But based off of being out this long, based off the circumstances at this point, he had no better option than sitting out the rest of the year and preserving his body further.
Free agency for him this summer, obviously going to be a big topic. That's all the time we have for 3 Strikes, but up next I'll be joined at the desk by Luis and Evan to discuss MLB awards.